So let me tell you something about the CV Trinity. It has 6 channels of modulation and they are completely independent, so you can cross-modulate them to get some really complex modulation patterns. Yeah, it's complex. This video is going to take a while, so sit down, relax, make some popcorn and enjoy. You have the connectors in this shape. So these are the 6 outputs of the 6 channels, and each channel has an input. So this is how you select the channel. With these 3 big buttons, you select the channel, and then you have this small button to select whether it's upper or lower row. Each of the channels can be LFO, green, ADSR, blue, or automation, red, which you select with this mode button. This LED always shows you the waveform of the selected channel, and the output next to it always outputs the CV of the selected channel, which is cool if you want to use the big buttons to quickly change modulation presets. The input of each channel works as a gate input, and at the output you have your envelope. You have the 3 knobs to set attack, sustain, and 1 knob for setting both decay and release. Then, if you hold the function button, you can adjust more things by pressing the big buttons. If it's looping, if the envelope is linear or exponential, or if it is in the attack, hold, release mode, where the hold is set by the sustain knob. All the things you can set with the function button are written here on the big buttons, so you don't really have to remember them. The hold mode is cool because the full envelope will happen once receiving trigger at the input. So now let's focus on the LFO. You have the 3 knobs, which are the rate, the shape, and sort of fractal WAVESHAPER here. Then again, the function button in combination with the big buttons sets whether the LFO is synchronized or free running, or it can be in pingable mode. And you can also select whether it's fast or slow. If the LFO is free running, you have the smooth control over the rate, which goes up to audio rate, or in the slow range, can be some minutes long. If the LFO is synchronized, the rate knob sets the divider of the clock. If you are in the fast range, the divider is always even, 2, 4, 8, 16 and so on. But if you are in the slow range, the divider can be also odd numbers like 3 or 7. When synchronized, the LFO is synced with the tempo in certain phase. So these 2 are 0 phase shift, these 2 are 90 degrees phase shift, and these 2 are 180 degrees phase shift. The CV input of the LFO sets the rate or divider if you are synchronized. However, if you are in the pingable mode, you can set the speed of the LFO with 2 triggers on the input. Once you do this, the rate knob adjusts the phase shift. So what is the fractal WAVESHAPER we were talking about? It is called XOR shape and it adds spikes on the waveform, always dividing it into bigger or smaller slopes with division of 8. In fact, it's a bit operator function applied on the 8-bit waveform, and that means that if you are synchronized, it always matches with the beat. Or you can also see it as adding more or less spikes on the waveform as you tweak the knob, which is absolutely awesome when used for pinging analog filter. So now let's have a look at the basic wave shapes. We have triangle, saw, ramp, flopping triangle, and flopping saw. These are cool when you apply the fractal WAVESHAPER to them. But then you have the evolving random and looped evolving random. The top knob sets the clock or divider, and the left knob sets the smoothing of the random wave shape. It is a clocked mechanism, and you can loop the last 32 clocks by locking the shape knob fully to the right. Automation or knob recorder is 32-step CV sequencer with adjustable amount of interpolation between steps. Just hold the record button and tweak the record knob to set values in the sequencer. The knob on the right adjusts how many steps there are, and the knob on the left says the amount of linear interpolation between steps. The master clock can clock the sequencer, or the clock on the input can clock the channel independently. Clockity clock. Clock clock. CV Trinity has an expander for a reset input on individual channels. For automation, trigger on the input goes to the first step. For LFO, it resets the waveform, and for ADSR, it acts as a retrigger. CV Trinity has internal clock generator which can be adjusted by holding the function button and turning the top knob. You can override the master clock by plugging external clock to the clock input. Holding the function button and hitting record button saves your preset, so once you turn your modular off and on, it will start with the saved settings. So all the automations and all the settings for the 6 channels form one preset. And you can record 3 different presets on the CV Trinity by holding the mode button and pressing one of the 3 big buttons. So if you've made it this far, you deserve to know what happens if you cross-patch the individual channels. Yo! I have now synchronized LFO on this channel, and on the next channel I have automation. I plug the automation output and I will control the divider of the LFO with that voltage.